General Hospital spoilers, Sonny and Carly leave Port Charles as Michael and Morgan return. A shocking shakeup. Port Charles is on the edge of a seismic shift, and longtime General Hospital fans will be left reeling as shocking returns and bittersweet goodbyes rock the canvas. As new dynamics are forged and old wounds are reopened, the next chapter promises to be explosive. In a twist that no one saw coming, two beloved power players, Sonny Carly, Maurice Benard, and Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, are exiting the town they've dominated for decades. But as they make their emotional departure, fans will be thrilled to see the return of Michael Carly, Chad Duell, and a long-anticipated comeback from Morgan Carly, last portrayed by Brian Craig. How will this all play out, and what secrets will unravel along the way? Let's dive into the full breakdown of this earth-shattering storyline that will leave fans talking for months to come. The shocking exit, Sonny and Carly's emotional farewell. For years, Sonny and Carly have been the heartbeat of Port Charles. From mob wars and courtroom battles to family betrayals and tender reconciliations, there's barely a storyline where the Carly family hasn't played a pivotal role. But as spring dawns, the duo is set to step away from the chaos, and the reasons will hit fans hard. Sources confirm that after a series of tragic events, including an escalating mob war that leaves innocents in the crossfire, Sonny is forced to reevaluate everything. A rival cartel's aggressive encroachment on Port Charles territory triggers a chain of devastating incidents, one of which involves a near-fatal attack on Donna Carly. Shaken to the core, Sonny makes a heart-wrenching decision to leave Port Charles behind to protect his children. Carly, reeling from the trauma of nearly losing Donna and seeing the ripple effects of Sonny's violent lifestyle, makes a parallel choice. For the sake of her children and her own sanity, she agrees to leave town. But the decision isn't easy. Carly's love for Port Charles runs deep, and walking away from her mother Bobby's legacy, her friendships, and her home tests every ounce of her resolve. In a tearful farewell scene on the docks, Sonny and Carly share a rare moment of vulnerability. With Donna and Avery in tow, they board a private jet, vowing to start anew, leaving behind years of memories, heartbreak, and unfinished business. But just as the town starts to process their absence, familiar faces return to shake things up. Michael Carly returns, but not as you remember him. With Sonny and Carly gone, it's Michael Carly who steps back into the limelight, but this isn't the same Michael fans last saw. After months away in New York City handling YLQ business and focusing on family life with Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, Michael reemerges as a man transformed. Gone is the diplomatic, ever-reasonable corporate heir. In his place stands a colder, more calculated Michael who carries the weight of Sonny's legacy on his shoulders. But why the sudden change? Michael's return is shrouded in mystery, but insider teasers hint that his time away from Port Charles included clandestine meetings with major East Coast players in both business and organized crime. Could Michael have brokered a deal with former mob allies or enemies to protect the Carly's name while his father is away? And how will Willow react to Michael's hardened demeanor, especially after barely surviving her health scare? Expect tense family dinners, boardroom power moves, and a simmering feud with Ned Quartermain, Wally Kurth, who's none too pleased to see Michael reclaim his position as YLQ's dominant force. But while Michael's corporate maneuvers send shockwaves through the Quartermain mansion, it's his reaction to his younger brother's return that could fracture the family beyond repair. Morgan Carly comes home, and he's no longer the same kid. Yes, you read that right. Morgan Carly is alive. After years of presumed death following the harrowing car explosion orchestrated by Ava Jerome, Maura West, Morgan is back in Port Charles. But he's not the bright-eyed, impulsive young man who left. The years away have shaped him into someone new, hardened, mysterious, and carrying secrets that will rattle the very foundations of the Carly family. It all starts when a hooded figure shows up at Sonny and Carly's abandoned house, staring at old family photos through a dusty window. Later, a tense scene at Kelly's diner reveals the mystery man to be Morgan himself, alive and in the flesh. His unexpected return sends shockwaves through the town, especially among those who still blame themselves for his death. Chief among them, Ava and Julian Jerome's lingering associates. Morgan's first confrontation? Michael. What should be a heartwarming reunion turns icy fast. Morgan accuses Michael of failing to protect him all those years ago, harboring resentment over choices Michael made during Morgan's final days in Port Charles. Morgan's simmering anger stems not just from abandonment, but from secrets he's been keeping, secrets about who really pulled the strings behind the explosion that killed him. As Morgan's PTSD and complex trauma rise to the surface, old rivalries reignite, and it becomes clear he's returned with more than just emotional baggage. He has a vendetta. The battle for the Corinthos legacy. With Sonny gone, the vacuum left behind creates an opening for rival factions, and Morgan, shockingly, seems poised to take up the mantle his father left behind. However, Michael stands firmly opposed, determined to steer the family away from the mob and deeper into legitimate power through Yelku. Morgan, however, wants vengeance and believes that reclaiming their family's empire, by any means necessary, is the only way to honor Sonny's name. This sets the stage for a fierce brother-versus-brother battle that threatens to divide Port Charles. Adding fuel to the fire, Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, who once worked as Sonny's enforcer, finds himself caught between loyalty to Michael and sympathy for Morgan's rage-fueled return. Dex's internal struggle may cause him to make reckless decisions, possibly leading him down the same dark path Morgan is treading. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Jax, Eden McCoy, who has been entangled with both Dex and the Corinthos legacy, is thrust into the heart of the conflict. As Morgan resurfaces and rekindles old feelings, Jocelyn is torn between protecting the fragile peace she's built with Michael and the temptation to support Morgan's dangerous mission. Ava's worst nightmare. As Morgan makes his presence known, Ava Jerome's world begins to crumble. Guilt-ridden and terrified, Ava tries to keep her own criminal past buried, but Morgan's sudden reappearance puts her directly in the crosshairs. Ava's first interaction with Morgan since his return is chilling. In a tense encounter at the Savoy, Morgan corners Ava and cryptically references the explosion, leaving her visibly shaken. Ava scrambles to control the fallout, even attempting to enlist Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watros, to intervene. However, Nina is dealing with her own devastation following Sonny and Carly's departure, and with her alliance with Sonny fractured, she has little power left. Expect Ava to spiral as she desperately tries to keep her dark deeds from coming to light. But Morgan isn't just after justice, he's after destruction. Ava will soon realize that Morgan's vendetta goes beyond mere revenge. It's about tearing down everything that's ever hurt him, including her. The Quartermaines react. Back at the Quartermaine estate, the family is left reeling by Sonny and Carly's departure and Morgan's resurrection. Tracy Quartermaine, Jane Elliott, immediately questions Morgan's motives, suspecting that his return could destabilize Yelku and the Corinthos business ties. Brooklyn Amanda Seton, meanwhile, finds herself strangely sympathetic to Morgan's pain, remembering how close they once were as kids. However, she's cautious, knowing full well the chaos that follows any Corinthos family feud. Olivia Falconeri, Lisa Lo Cicero, struggles deeply with Morgan's return, haunted by memories of her son Dante's, Dominic Zamprogna, own brushes with death in mob wars. Olivia urges Ned and Michael to find a way to protect the family from what she senses will be an impending storm. The aftermath and what's next. While Sonny and Carly are physically absent, their shadow looms large over every character in Port Charles. The power vacuum they leave behind will change alliances and force characters to pick sides. Michael's path of corporate power and peace, or Morgan's road to vengeance and destruction. And don't expect Sonny and Carly to be gone forever. Sources tease that their off-screen journey will be explored through video calls and special scenes, hinting at their new life away from the mob. However, there are rumblings that one or both could return just as the war between their sons reaches its boiling point. Could Sonny be forced to return to a Port Charles he no longer recognizes? Will Carly come back to stop Morgan before he self-destructs? Final thoughts. General Hospital fans are in for an emotional roller coaster as Sonny and Carly's departure ushers in a dangerous new chapter for the Corinthos family. With Michael hardening into a ruthless business mogul and Morgan threatening to reignite the mob wars of the past, Port Charles is on the brink of chaos. Stay tuned as rivalries reignite, old flames flicker, and shocking truths unravel. In a town where loyalty and betrayal walk hand in hand, one thing is clear: nothing will ever be the same.